Drum JT62 back with you. On this one, we're going to look at replacing and making this Pegasus 12 a little bit bigger. We're going to replace all 6 supports that come up this way. I'm not sure exactly what size those are, from we'll call them 450s to these. And this one, it's going to be a little bit of work. I'm either going to be a hero or a zero. Let's see how she turns out. Something you're interested in? Stay tuned. So I'm not going to hit you with every bit of footage on this, but I think I can remove this top frame. I'm going to have to disconnect most of the wiring and remove it as an assembly, so I just have to deal with these stanchions. And you're probably asking me why I'm doing this. The reason why is because in my initial design of the cable chain, I lost an inch right there. So that put me at 12. And this is a totally rigid, awesome machine, and I think that it's easily capable of CR10S heights, and to be able to support longer rails in this section. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to goof with the bed. I'll end up gaining probably 3 inches on this whole thing. I believe these, I said 400 in the intro, or 450s. I believe they're 500. 100 millimeters is going to give you pretty close to 4 inches additional. So I'll add 3 inches to this, so that'll put my max build height at 15 inches. So, like I said, it's a little work. I think it's going to be worth it though in the long run. I'm going to try to minimize the disassembly of everything here. If I pull the wires out, it's easier for me to disconnect them from the ramps and then work back into that. I really don't want to goof with the position of the head or anything like that. Not major, but I think I can get this out, and with, I don't want to say minimal work, but a lot less work than what it looks like. The motors, the stepper motors on the Z are going to have to be removed. I do have longer lead screws if I need them, and I think I am. I ordered those originally when I was doing this mock-up on this machine, or building it up and wiring it the way I wanted it. So I'm going to get started on this, and we'll do a few parts here and there so you can see the progress, so we don't make this video 30-40 minutes, and you'll get exactly what I'm doing and where I'm going with it. So let's get started. So here this is disassembled. It's actually a little bit easier than I thought. I was able to remove the ramps and the power supply off the back rail and just lay it down. And remove these supports like in here just on one side. I'm going to leave these tight on this side, so when I put everything back in on the line, it'll be real close. I just removed the concentric bolts on this side. You can catch a little bit of it in there. on both sides, so I can just slide the rail out, put the new one in, and then we'll redo that later. I do have longer lead screws for this. I just happened to buy those when I was originally building this machine and installing those, and they were too long, so maybe that's a good thing now. I think I may even end up cutting them because they're pretty long. I think they're 600 millimeter. So we'll have to see. I don't believe those that are on here right now are going to fit. I believe they're only like 450s. So we'll get the rest of this taken apart, get the bottom off, just leave the bottom frame together, reinstall the rails. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers, the wiring is going to be long enough. I do have a lot of excess in here that I didn't cut off just for expansion, so hopefully it's going to be enough. So let's get that done, get the frame back together. Come back and take a look at it. So we got the frame back together. It was pretty easy to get my alignment back since I didn't remove the supports in here. Not the supports, but the fittings in here on the top rail and the bottom rail. I left them fixed. It was just a slight amount of adjustment to line them up, but I mean very little. So that worked out really good. Here's the difference between the stock rails. That's what was on there, just coming up barely to the bottom of the display, to this. It's about 4 inches. It's huge. I think I said the lead screws in that last section were 600s. I think they're 5s. I'll measure them out and call out the exact measurements when we're done with this, but the difference in this thing is going to be remarkable as far as the height difference. Unfortunately, here's the gaggle here, the spaghetti. I'm going to have to extend some of these wires. I ended up having to go back to the original length of this cable chain that I bought and reinstalling those links. Remember, just like in all my videos, I say don't throw stuff away, keep it. You never know when you're going to need it, and I needed to add those back in. But actually, I do have even a longer length than this if I did need them. I added a cable chain in here somewhere. Or I just needed an end. I'm sorry. I just needed an opposite end on this, on one of these. So I bought a whole length of chain. Just took the end off so all the rest was spare. But at any rate, you're going to need 20.5 inches or approximately 520 millimeters. Or you can call it a little bit longer than that. It's probably not going to come in a length that way. So this chain has a lot of travel it has to make all the way up here. You can see how long that's taken to get up there. So about ready to get the lead screws back on. I have to put the Z steppers back on, and then I have to start working on this wiring. Actually, I'm going to leave the steppers off in the lead screws, so I have freedom of movement to slide this all the way up and down. While I'm doing the wiring, and then the Z-axis steppers and lead screws will be easy from there. So let me deal with the wiring. Get that done, get the cable chain on, come back and take a look at it. I almost screwed up here. I didn't need 20 inches, I need 14. All I need to do is move this bracket up or down and find a common amount to where when I move all the way up here, this allows the stepper motor to make it full travel. So maybe this wiring issue may not be so bad after all. Let's pull it through, come back, take a look at it. Okay, we're back. The machine is back together. The wiring surprisingly was long enough. The excess I had left over was perfect. I only ended up extending the filament runout sensor wire and the light, the LED lighting. I had to extend those out. So it was basically only 4 wires, very simple. Everything else fell back into place. These are 600s, calling the right number. They're 600 millimeter. The rails are 600s. Total bill height 16.5 inches. If you didn't have, or if you have your cable chain in a different orientation than mine, and you were to do this modification, let's just say it was on the back side here, this would be 17.5 inches high total length. So this worked out very well. The rails are from Banggood. They're $12.50 each, US dollars. The 8 millimeter lead screws, eBay. They're all over eBay. 600 millimeters are about $23 for the set. And if you had already done this mod that I did up here for the bearings, the support bearings, then you just drop these in. I'm not going to cut those, it's not worth it. Actually, it's a little bit less distance than the original ones that I had on here. They're a little bit shorter. So these worked out perfect. I couldn't ask for anything better than that. So let me get some prints done. I need to redo a couple of things anyway. Actually, this bracket on the back side of my display cracked, but it's still held in there right now. But I'd like to print that, and we're gonna make sure everything's on alignment. It should be. Nothing's changed. And actually, this light, I decided not to put it all the way down there and extend the wiring and leave it up higher, so I can get better lighting on this bed. So that actually worked out better anyway. So we're going to call this another successful project. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, And like I always say, I'll answer those as best I can. I get back to everybody. I'm very pleased the way this turned out. We're going to call this one done and another successful project. Please like, comment, subscribe. Once again, as always, thanks for watching.